Okay, everybody. So tonight I just wanted to go through the things that I do to organize my contacts so that I try to keep up with follow-ups. And I don't have like the perfect system. I don't have even a formal structure yet, but I thought it would be helpful for you guys to see what I'm currently doing and some other options that are good plans that you can put into place. Because I honestly feel that follow-up is one of the most important parts of growing your business. It is said that 80% of the people who order or join with you will do so after the 5th time that you've reached out to them. So if you only reach out to someone 1 or 2 times and then you move on to other people and don't go back to those original contacts, then you often lose out on the sale. So it's very important that you keep a list and keep track of all the people that you're reaching out to. And only if they give you like a definite no, not interested, even then I've had people come back later on and decide to order or join. So what I do if I get a definite no is I just put them back into like my people that I'm engaging with on Facebook. I like their posts, I comment, I maintain the friendship, I don't burn any bridges, and that way they still follow my posts, and if they decide that they're interested later on, I haven't closed that door. So, but that said, here is what I do. I have a clipboard, and I keep this clipboard with me at all times. So whether I'm in the car, if I'm in the car, I put it in like my Plexus bag that I carry. But anytime that I'm planning on working my business, I have this with me. And I'm going to go through what I keep on it. And then I'm going to also talk to you about some other strategies that I've recently started to implement. But this is like my brain right here on the board. Okay, so the first thing that I always keep on my clipboard is our double-sided handout, and I keep it in like a little laminated cover. It's one of those removable ones, so if we need to update it, I can pull the paper out and put a new one in. But you can laminate it. You can never do whatever you want. If you want to print it on cardstock, that's fine too. It just needs to be pretty durable because you're going to be accessing this a lot. So on one side, you've got your price list with retail, wholesale, the preferred, and all the PVs that go with it. So if someone messages you and they're like, hey, how much would it cost to order this? I often just need to take a look because I don't memorize all the prices. And then on the other side is our comp plan. And again, and it has the welcome packs here, but it also has things like what the preferred customer bonuses are for each product. So I do reference this fairly often as well. But anyway, so I have this on my clipboard, and I really recommend that you guys print this out. It is in the resources tab of the Plexus Health Club website. All right, moving forward. So another thing that I keep on my clipboard is I keep a list of all of the new ambassadors that I have for that particular month. And right now it's on this convention credit list that I used from last year. It just helps me keep track of it. I did notice, thanks to Teresa, she pointed out that they have started putting all of our convention credits under our report section of our back office now. So you don't have to keep a running tally of your convention credits if you're trying to earn like your ticket to convention, or you want to go to Winter's Dinner, whatever your goal is for the Vegas trip in June. If you click on my reports, then it'll be right on the right-hand side of that front page of the reports section. But I keep a running tab because I want to know who my newbies are and who I can reach out to and be working with and helping support them in their first month. I also keep the prior month because those are still new ambassadors that I am going to be helping. It's their first full month, the second month. So I really just want to keep that at the forefront of my attention to make sure that I'm nurturing and supporting our new ambassadors. So, as you're getting started, maybe you just have one list that has your ambassadors and your customers all on one quick glance. So you can see everybody at once and make sure that you're not, forgetting something with them. But I actually don't keep customers on my clipboard. I actually make a little sticky note right here on my laptop so I can glance down, and what I do is I have their name and I have when their auto ship is set to go out. So just the name and the, say, 7th or 15th, and I keep it in chronological order so that before their auto ship goes out, I can look on there and go, oh, her auto ship's going to go out in a few days. I need to follow up with her and see how she's doing and make sure, she doesn't want to change anything or cancel and that kind of thing. Because really good customer service is making sure that they don't have like a surprise. If they were planning on changing something or money's really tight, I always try to reach out to them before it goes through, unless they're a long-term, it's their 4th or 5th month, they've kind of gotten the hang of this. But if it's their 2nd or 3rd month that it's going to ship, you want to make sure that they weren't planning on adding something in or changing things around or delaying it or canceling it. It's just a good practice to get into. Then you don't have an angry customer on your hands who got caught off guard. But I also take a look at it for just making sure, how things are going, how many customers I have, how many new ones are on there that month, that kind of thing. So you can keep a running list of your customers, and you can keep them with your new ambassadors if you want, however you want to do that. Okay, so then the next thing that I keep on my clipboard is I keep a running tally of our genealogy. So every month I print it out at the last day of the month. This is our ambassador list. I print it out the end of each month, but I also print it out at the beginning of the month when it starts fresh. And as the month goes through, I circle them when their order goes through. If they turn off their auto ship, I make a note of that. And I always have the month prior, so I'm paying attention to, are they, how are their sales doing? Are they working the business and their PV's going way up? Is their PV dropping and they need more support with, should I reach out to them and see if I can help them with their customers with follow-up? If they're adding people in, if they, turned off their auto ship, whatever it is, it just helps me keep tab of how the team is doing at a glance without having to log in all the time. I've got it right here on my clipboard. Although I do log in periodically, and especially this time of the month when we're watching for auto ships to go through and see how everybody's doing. But it just helps me to have the whole list at a glance so that I can look through it. Okay. Now to the potentials. I keep this memory jogger list. This is part of the power plan, and Clark and I broke that off of the power plan and created it into a separate document that you guys can print out. It's in the resources section of the website. But this is my active working memory jogger. I've got my top potentials that I'd love, my dream team, my chicken list that I'm afraid to reach out to, whatever you want to call them. And then I keep this down here pretty actively filled out. If it gets to where I've crossed a lot of them off, then I'll go through and start a new one and make a new list. But these are going to be people that I'm reaching out to when I'm ready to start tapping into some fresh potentials. I'm not one to personally reach out to everybody all at once. I tend to pick, okay, I'm gonna reach out to these 5 or 10 this month because I can tell that they have a need for more income, or because they're talking about how their health is, troubling them, or because I really think they'd be great at the business and I'm, wanting to reach them. But I try to just be strategic so I'm not overwhelming myself by messaging all the people all at once. Although I do have times where if I'm really pushing to reach a goal, I might message 30 or 40 of them in 1 month. But just so far, that's what I'm doing. I'm really targeting a few in particular, usually around 5 or 10 that I reach out to. The rest of the month, I'm following up with all the others that I've previously reached out to. Now, you can use the 3-2-1 follow-up method if that works for you. That's where you reach out to 3 new people you follow up with 2 that you've already talked to, and then you reach out to 1 who's already a customer on your team. That's another follow-up method that you can use for daily follow-ups. But what I do, this is the second page of that memory jogger list, and I use this for samples. So what I do is I message people from my first list, and if they indicate that they're a little curious, a little bit interested, it's not a closed door no, I offer if I could send them a sample and a little bit of information. So I mail them that information, and what I put in the little envelope is I give them a Slim sample card, and I usually give them 3 stick packs of Slim. If you can only afford to do 1, that's fine. Originally, I started out just giving 1. Now I give 3. You can also do the 3-day sample packs, the Slim Accelerator. I have personally just found that not everybody's going to want the Accelerator or the Boost or the Block, and I don't know what their health issues are. So I tend to just put the Slim in there and see how they like that. And then if they like it and they think they are ready to give it a try, then we can talk about the different combo packs and what they might want to try. If they've specifically said, I really want more energy, or I want to try the Accelerator or Boost, or I struggle with carbs and I eat a lot of carbs, then I might give them one of those 3 days. It really just depends on how my interaction went with them when we were talking. But typically it's just 3 Slim. So as soon as I send them something, I write their name on this list, and I put the date on this second column, and I put what I mailed to them. And then I leave the third column for my follow-up area. And this is really where I'm making sure that I haven't let it fall through the crack. Back to what I put in their packet. So I send the Slim sample card, the 3 Slim stick packs, and then I also put a brochure. You can use whatever brochure you like to use. In the past, I've done the ones from SJ Plexus. Right now we're doing one that's a little bit different. It's a pink one, and it just says, it goes through kind of all the products. But whatever brochure you really like to use if you have one. The other thing that I put in there is I put a document that tells them what to expect with their 3-day trial. So that is something that I can put accessible on the website in the near future if you don't have something like that already created. But it's just a real brief, letting them know that they're not going to see a lot of weight loss in 3 days. It's really just to see if they can fit it into their routine, if they like the taste, and notice, be watching for these few things. And it gives them a little information about Plexus. So that's what I put in there. After I mail it, I write their name down, the date, what I sent them, and then I make a little note that I'm going to follow up with them in like 2 or 3 days. I want to make sure that they get the packet. And every time I'm messaging them, I'm like, I'm so excited for you to try. I can't wait for you to get started. All right, I can't wait to see how you like it. I'm excited for them. When they get their packet, then I say, oh, great. How do you like the taste? And I always ask it in a way that's a positive. I don't say, so what'd you think? Because that opens up the door to any kind of negative response. I phrase it, so how are you enjoying your samples? Or how did you like the flavor? Something positive, so they're pointing out the positives first. And then if they bring up, I like it, I'm not seeing, changes yet, or, it's not helping with my cravings yet, then I can pull up things like, well, are you noticing any change in your sleep or your energy? Are you finding that you have better willpower? I go through what they might expect. At the end of the 3 days, if they, don't just absolutely hate the flavor, or if they mention that on the first day, of course, I talk to them about how they can change the flavor or the concentration and things. But if they're not just adamantly opposed to it at the end of their 3 days, I really encourage them to go ahead and get started. I remind them that there's a 60-day money-back guarantee as a customer. I talk to them about the 3 ways to order. But each time that I follow up, I'm encouraging them. I'm letting them know I'm going to be there for them on this health journey, that I'm excited to help them reach their goals. And every time that I talk to them, I make a new note here. So like I've got one, and she says that it gave her more energy but didn't change her appetite yet. So I followed up with her again, and she is going to wait until after her taxes to order. So each time I talk to them, I make note of what they said, because the more people you talk to, you won't be able to remember, oh, what did they say? And you don't want to have to like go back through all of your messages to remember what they had told you. So every few days when I do my follow-ups, I look and go, okay, so who's still on here that's got samples that are out and they haven't ordered yet? I'm going to reach out to those people. Or I say, okay, let me look back to a couple of weeks ago or a month ago who seemed somewhat interested but didn't order, and I'll reach back out to them. So again, every few weeks or every month, I'm making sure that I'm making another contact with them. You know, hey, just wondering if you're still thinking about giving Plexus a try. I was wondering if now might be a better time for you. Things like that when I'm following up with them. But they're always on my running list, and I have like prior months on here, so I've always got them. Until they order or join, they're going to be on my running list. All right, and so I have those in here, and that's really my follow-up list. If there's like a special promotion going, when the company does, you know, like the November to Remember, and they're offering huge bonus or some special incentive, and I'm really pushing myself a lot harder, then I'll actually take a brand new list, and I will just start writing down every single name that I contact that month, and just make a really long list, because those are months that I'm going to push myself even more. But as of right now, I tend to keep about, like I said, 10 to 15 people that I'm actively working on encouraging them to order or join. That's just what I found that I can handle with my follow-ups pace. But everybody's different, and you guys may be able to handle reaching out to a lot more and following up with a lot more all at once. I'm also trying to homeschool, and I'm trying to run this team, and I just feel that's what works best for me. Okay, so then the other thing that I have on my clipboard is I have the prior month ambassador list, so I can look back and compare. If somebody says, hey, do you happen to remember how many people I had active, or what my PV was last month, or you know, how come I only made this amount? Right now, the company in our back office, for some reason, we can't pull up our prior month's reports. We used to be able to do that in the new system. They haven't activated that feature. So I'm keeping all of my reports printed out as a history, and I keep the 1 month prior on my clipboard. Okay, and then I also just have a few little things, like if I'm doing if we're doing the team online event, I'll have a page for that, and I'll write down all of the active participants, and each time they win a prize, I'll write their name and addresses down so I can keep up with all of those people as well. I also make notes if I listen to any training calls. If I'm doing research to prepare for a training call, I've got extra paper here so I can do that. And like right now, I'm doing an incentive for you guys with the 3-way chats, how you can be entered into a drawing. So every time you guys throw me into a 3-way chat, I'm putting a little tally mark next to your name. So those are the kinds of things that I try to keep up with on my clipboard. And then I want to show you what I do for a calendar. I don't have a calendar on my clipboard. I actually have a calendar beside me, and I've recently started a brand new calendar system that Clark bought me, because we're going to try to merge our calendars together. We always feel, he's like, I never know when you have an event or when you've got something going on, and it would be good if we just have a family thing. And I can't write something in my calendar and go transfer it to the family wall. So he bought us this really big binder that we're going to share all of our activities on. But essentially, if you just have a calendar, You can schedule when you do your follow-ups. You can schedule if you're doing like a meeting with some of your team, if you're doing any three-way Zoom calls or chats, you just want to write them down so that you can keep track. It's great to look back on later too, even if you feel like, oh, I'm not doing that many, I don't need to write them down. It's good to look back and go, now what day was it again that I did that call with so-and-so? You'll have that in your history. So I try to fill it up with the team calls and three-ways and all that. Anytime I've got something going on, I put that on here. So, all right. And then one other thing that I've started doing that I want to share with you, I have a little binder, and I'm going to see about using something like this in addition to my clipboard. But what I would really like to do is have some way to keep record of each individual customer and each one of my team members, and have a place where I've written down what their goals are, what products they're currently on, you know, what their health concerns are, what their prayer needs are, you know, what's going on in their life. So as it gets to be so, you know, such a long list, you know, like if you only have 3 or 4 customers, it's easy for you to remember what is going on in their life. But as you get to where your business is a lot bigger and you've got all these ambassadors that are joining underneath you, I try to personally connect with each one, even if I didn't know them before this. So this is a way that I want to get to know people. If you have new customers who you met online or you met at the grocery store or a referral, you don't really know them. So this is a way that I'm hoping will help me connect with them better, so that when I reach out to them, I can say, hey, you know, last time we chatted, you talked to me about this. How's that going? You know, that kind of thing. So I created, and I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let me see if I can get it to come up here. Okay, so I created an existing customer information sheet, and I put it in the resources here. You guys can print these out and use these as well, but this is what I plan to use for now. Ideally, it would be great if I could find a great online follow-up system for this to enter it in, but I haven't found anything that works as of yet that's not just ridiculously expensive, and I still like to write things down. I feel when I write it on paper, I remember it a lot better. So this is the follow-up template. It's again in the resources section. And this first page is the ambassador information sheet. You've got all of the information about their contact information. You can put what they joined and what they're interested in right here. Whether they're inactive, wholesale only, or active and working. You can even put when their auto ship is set to go out. You can put their current rank here when they rank advance, and anything, you know, about their family or their products that they're on, and then just their space for follow-up with them. Each time that you talk with them, you can write a few notes about how their journey is going, or something that they're struggling with, or what their goals are. You can use that. The back is just more information on their goals and action plans. So if you're really working with them, if they're working the business, you can like say, okay, let's try to get you to silver by the end of next month, or whatever you guys work out based on their interests. I put a few extra things on here: leadership, the current rank, the team name. For example, if you have someone who is on your team and they've reached silver and they have, you know, 5 people under them and they start their own team, it's helpful to know what they named their Facebook team, so that you can go in there periodically and, you know, encourage their team and whatnot. Because I guarantee you, as your team gets bigger, someone's going to say, hey, can you go on my team page and respond to my comment? I'll be like, what's your team name again? Because there's so many that it's hard to keep up with when everybody below you has their own separate teams. The other thing I'd like to know is personality color. And this is part of the Big Al, Tom Schreiter is his name, but he wrote a book called The 4 Color Personalities of MLM. And I find that you can really personalize how to help people if you know what their personality is like. And red is like your driven doers, like they're the ones that are your type A's, my way or the highway. They're the ones who believe that they know what they need to do. Then you have blues who are all about fun and party and hanging out with people, and they'll talk to everybody. So you've got that personality. You've got yellow, who's all about being behind the scenes and helping people. And then you have green, who are the ones who analyze everything. They know all the fine detail answers to every questions. They're your researchers. So based on their personality type, you can work with them towards their strengths, and his book really teaches you how to best help them based on their personality. So I kind of like to just know a little bit about each person to know how to reach out and help them more. And then if they attend any events, I like to keep track of that. And strengths and deficits. So if someone communicates to me that one thing they really need help with is wording things on their posts or follow-up or organization, things like that, I might make a note of it so that I am making sure I'm helping them when I reach out and talk to them. And strengths are helpful because I like to know, where their strong suit is. So if they love public speaking and we do an event, I may ask them to help me with that or something. And then just more notes. And again, I like to be praying for the team. So if I know there's something in particular that they're struggling with, how I can be praying for them. I'd have the same thing for my customers here. It's essentially the same thing, except I'm not going to have, team information, but I still want to know what their status is. Again, you can have prospect there. You can have that they're retail or preferred and write their auto ship date and just your follow-up information. You can even ask for referrals here on the back. All right, and then I did have one extra page for potential. So if you saw the page that I showed you, I was doing my samples. I also put that here in this follow-up template. So you can actually print that out on full size and put it in a binder. You can put it on your clipboard. I'm trying to do this like little mid-size binder so that I can put it in a bag and carry it with me a lot easier. I bought a little calendar that goes in those little travel systems. I forget what they call those, the day runners or whatever. I'm going to stop sharing here now. Hold on. So I bought the little calendar that goes in a day runner so I can use that if need be. I'll have a section in here for ambassadors, customers, potentials, and any other little things going on. I also, in the back, have my little address book. So if someone says, can you mail me a sample? I put them down in the address book. So I try to keep up with the, it's just very helpful if I'm out running errands and they say, I don't know, if they're just like, hey, can you send me something or whatever, and I happen to be out, I often will have it with me. So anyway, that's pretty much what I keep up with right now for follow-up. Hopefully that is something that might give you some ideas. I know that there are other methods. There's the index box method where you can put index cards in a box and have little divider tabs that are numbered 1 through 31. And then when it's time for that person's follow-up, you put it on the day of the month that you plan to follow up with them next. I've tried the index box system and I just didn't get into a rhythm with that. Other people like to use electronic things, so they use their calendar on their phone. Whatever works for you is great. As long as it's something that you can develop and stick to it and make sure that you're following up, then that's what's the most important thing. So, all right, well, I'm going to stop the call and we'll do some question and answer time.